I didn't process any of that. EIFS? EIFS? Wow, that's pretty definitive. Be honest, anybody that prefers EIFS? I say both. You probably heard me say both. All right, well, first of all, it doesn't matter how you pronounce it if you can't spell it. EFIS, definitely a pet peeve of mine. It's EIFS. It's really not a great acronym, so I can't blame them. It's exterior because it goes outside. Insulated because, you know, insulation. Finish system. Not much to the acronym. Although if you ever see a consultant write EIFS assembly, their brain is like broken. They will not write EIFS system because that would be system. So every time you see someone write VIN number, every time you see someone write EIFS assembly, you know that they're just like a tortured soul. So I'm the second longest tenured certified EIFS inspector in Arizona. That's a weird brag, but it'll come up again later. Steve Caldwell, somebody mentioned, he's number 1. I'm number 2 behind him, which is about 20 years. And it was always EIFS. And then more people started doing it, and they started calling it EIFS. And then one guy's like, well, you wouldn't say Rufus. I'm like, dude, you don't speak any other languages if you think English is defensible, like at all. It's not. You can't use English to defend English. But here's what the system is. We'll walk you through it here. If it looks like perfect stucco, it's not. It's EIFS. Stucco cracks, the end. There's no way around it. If you're thinking like, well, not if you do it right, you can't. It cracks. It can definitely look worse in a lot of cases, but when it looks super smooth, that's EIFS. It provides continuous insulation in this styrofoam, and the system is air barrier behind it. Then they adhere the foam a couple of different ways, and then this base coat has mesh in it. Now, if I just push my finger here, this is just base coat with styrofoam. In fact, this is just a mock-up, so I'm just going to do it. See that? Right through. But down here where there's some mesh, not at all. Okay? So the mesh gives it its strength. It's called reinforcing mesh, fiberglass. You put it down and it embeds inside here. If you want it to be really strong, you can put high impact mesh. This stuff, even with your boots, you can't kick a hole in it. With a knife, you could make a hole. With a 2x4, this is the test, the missile impact test. A 2x4 shot at 30 miles per hour from 30 feet away will bounce off. So, pretty solid stuff. Cost prohibitive because you have to put it on with base coat, then you have to put this on with base coat. Otherwise, you'd see all the pattern because it's just so thick. But if you've got entrances where you're worried about or sidewalks right next to EIFS, put this on the first run. Really, really good application. In Florida, this goes on the whole building, right? Because they really do have projectiles through the air at every height. This is really popular in Florida, Arizona, Las Vegas, literally every casino where you're like, how did they do that? EIFS, styrofoam, lots of cool shapes. It is fire rated, like NFPA 285. That test is, they take a wall and they have a window and 3 flamethrowers, and the flamethrowers go out the top of the window, and they're testing like if your building's on fire and the flames go out the side. For some reason, this reminds me of like Dumbo, anybody else? Like there's the flames going, and what they're testing is, do the flames keep going? And it's asking, does it propagate? Like, does it burn the side of the wall and stop, or does it just keep going? So what happened on the Grenfell Tower was it kept going. With EIFS, it will stop. The base coat will stay in place, and the foam will melt a little bit, and then there will be a cavity and it just stops. If you can see styrofoam, so if you started burning this, the whole thing would burn. So EIFS is back wrapped, so anywhere there would be exposed foam, you get mesh and base coat on it, and then you're fine. So if ever you have EIFS and they're like, we're done, and you're like, I can see styrofoam, it's wrong, guaranteed, and you have a fire risk as well. The cool part about EIFS though is it does come with a manufacturer's warranty. Starts doing something weird, there's always a rep that can come out and you probably get more product or at least some instruction on how to do it right. When you have cracked stucco, and it's a big problem, maybe it's an old job and it's your responsibility now, or they're trying to make it look nice, or it's a new job and you're like, they botched the stucco, what do we do? You can take EIFS mesh and base coat and put it over the top of stucco and get a 5-year no crack guarantee. So that's how good the mesh is. And it's great for like going to an old building too, because now all stucco uses EIFS finish coat. The finish coat is like a synthetic product, and that's all we use anymore. They're not mixing stucco finish coat with sand at all. So pretty cool thing if you ever have stucco problems, come in with the base coat and mesh. Finish coat looks amazing. You get actually a no crack warranty. You cannot get no crack warranties with stucco. Still, a lot of people are worried about it. There are even GCs that can't get insurance for EIFS. It's very regional. When we went to DC, we're going on Tuesday again. The first time we went, they're like, hey, don't teach EIFS or they're gonna think you're hacks. Like, they don't use EIFS out there. And if you Google EIFS failures, it will pull up a project in the early 90s on single family homes where they tried out EIFS. And after they did it, they went in and cut a bunch of holes for outlets. The roofing, where it came down on a wall, should have had a kick-out flashing. It didn't, so when water went down the roof, it went in the building. Like, everything they did wrong would have been wrong with stucco, would have been wrong with siding. But the EIFS industry has this horrible problem with failed marketing. They push this job really hard as like the first job using EIFS, and then the installer failed miserably, and it just got class action lawsuit all over the news. And we are more than 30 years later, and people will be like, didn't they have like a big problem with that, like on the East Coast? How did that one story of like 50 houses travel for 30 years? I don't know. But because of that, it's very regional. East Coast, they stay away from it. Texas, it's picking up. You only need to be worried about it if your installer's like, no, yeah, we've done EIFS before, it'll be fine. Or like, oh no, we've always wanted to try EIFS, that sounds great. Like, you're in trouble. You want someone that honestly has switched from stucco and mostly does EIFS. So if you're here in town, there's a couple big names, you know, it's Diversified, it's MKB, it's Mirage Plastering. You get into some of these other names and it's gonna be risky. There's projects right now tearing off all their EIFS because of the inexperience of the installer. So I'm here for you, but generally, like, you want to be able to go look at several jobs that they've completed. There are also a couple things, like there's a lot of EIFS installers doing all these cool prefab systems, and you can stick brick on them, and you can do all this stuff. And they're starting to promote the idea that you could use mineral wool behind here instead of styrofoam, or you could use XPS board instead of styrofoam because they have a higher R value. Remember, this is only 3.8 and those are like 5. The problem is the only way EIFS will look good is if you can sand it down. So right before we put on base coat and mesh, they will sand the styrofoam and get it completely flat. It snows everywhere. It's a real problem to contain, but that's when EIFS looks good. There is no other version that will look good. If they're like, we're gonna screw attach it, won't look good. We're gonna use this insulation, won't look good. You will have the job where you can see all the boards and people are like, you should never use EIFS. You can use EIFS, you should never do it wrong. All right, how did I get here where I'm like, oh, I'm the second longest certified inspector? Well, it started with bragging about it when I shouldn't in a meeting. I had just gone to Las Vegas. They didn't have like online tests. So I went to Las Vegas, took the training, took the test, came back to the Mayo project where we were adding like the 5th floor, and it was EIFS, so that's why I went to get certified. I had never seen it, but I'm telling you, I sat in a meeting, I'm like, well, I'm EIFS certified, so. And that's where that weird brag began. After the meeting, Lawrence and Todd from Diversified, they were the EIFS installers. They came up to me and they're like, hey, would you like to go up on the scaffold and maybe learn something about EIFS? There was no way around it. It was obviously very clear I didn't know what I was talking about. So yeah, to this day, I look back and like, they taught me most of what I know about EIFS. Our relationship has grown to where they'll call in and they'll be like, oh, is Brian on the phone? Okay, we'll just do whatever he says. Let us know. We're going to drop off. And that came from the fact that I've learned from them. Now, I'm learning from them. I'm walking the scaffold. The next week, I'm doing inspections. Like, I'm the quality assurance person for EIFS on the job. And I definitely had a concern that I'm going to be out there and I saw something on the west elevation. I go tell the foreman that they're going to turn around and be like, are you kidding me right now? Like, didn't you just learn about this from us last week? Everything I've learned from the trades. I've never once had a trade hold that over my head. In fact, it's totally the opposite. So this is your pep talk. If you're like Enclosure's new or you're new in your career and you're feeling like you need to know everything as you go out there, you don't. There is room to ask questions and they do not hold it over your head. Like, they do this all day, every day. They expect to know more than everyone, right? And if you give them that respect to learn from them and then bring things to their attention that they've missed because they also have a job to do, they take it. They're happy to hear it. In fact, they believe you and have confidence in you because who taught you everything you know? They did. So there's the pep talk. I know a lot about EIFS now. It goes all back to those guys. We're going to watch this video, then we're going to take a break. So power through this video, and it's a great one.